down. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. Ha. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Ha. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. USFL Week 5. If you want the XFL Championship game prediction, that's a separate video which you can go check out on this channel as well. This is all about USFL. About halfway through the season as well now as we enter Week 5. Smokey, how are you doing?
I am better than, I'm better than Stars fans because right now they do look like the worst team in the league, and I am better than Stars fans because I'm no longer a Stars fan. We will leave it at that.
Okay. So we need a new team for you.
Yes.
Until the Stars start winning,
yes,
of course.
Yes, exactly.
That's
then I'll get back
how
on
these
board.
spring leagues work, apparently.
Yeah.
So I'll just like to distance myself from all this shenanigans. I stick with my teams. I'm a Battlehawks fan, even though they were screwed out of the playoffs by a league that didn't know how to rig the tiebreaker properly. I'm a Stallions fan, no matter what happens here. But we'll see. I have a couple suggestions for you, and maybe I can sell you on one or two of them. But how are our predictions looking, first of all?
Oh, good for me, I'll tell you that. Let's see, I had the Gamblers, you had the Stars, which makes absolutely no sense, but that's how we picked them last week. We both had the Panthers, we both had the Breakers, and we both had the Stallions. So that gave you 2 correct predictions, and I had 3, bringing us back to a tie. Imagine that, we're tied at 15.
Oh, surprise.
15 all.
15 out of 4.
Yes.
I guess that's still alright. Could be. We're still roughly on track for 75%.
15 out of
we need
20?
to start. Yeah. Gotta keep scoring here. Yeah, the Stars Gamblers thing, man. That was rough.
Yeah.
That was a rough one. That was bad. That was bad at halftime.
Absolutely.
Do you care to explain yourself at all, or have you already distanced yourself from that team during the game?
It was during the game. I was like, they're not going to fix this offensive line. They're just going to continue to be this bad. There is nothing special about the Gamblers. Yes, the Gamblers look good the past 2 weeks. But there is no reason the Gamblers should go and blow out the Stars that dang bad. The Stars have absolutely fallen apart, and if they're not going to fix that offensive line, they're going to continue to lose, and by the end of the season, which actually, I put them 8. I put them absolutely 8 in the power rankings right now, because they are that bad. The Maulers and the Showboats have the same records, but they are better. Those 2 teams look better than the Stars do right now, because they are not going to fix that offensive line. And their defense is just as bad. They can't hold anything. It's horrible. The team has fallen apart. This is not the team we saw last season. And they better start working. They better start making some trades. I said that last week. If they're not going to make some trades to improve this offensive line, they're going to lose to everyone in this league. And they're going to lose to the Showboats when they play them again. I'll tell you that. I can't see anyone they are beating playing like they are right now.
Yeah. Okay, Skogas got sacked another 6 times.
Yeah.
In that game, that's been the telling stat all year, and I've said for a long time, like, he's not going to make it through this season if that keeps going, and it's really looking like that. And then the note of the defense, they gave up almost 500 total yards to the Houston Gamblers, who have been incredibly mediocre, if anything. But Kenji Pohar looked like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And they ran all over them also. So it's looking bad. Looking bad for the Stars. Spring leagues are not treating you well this year.
Not at all.
First the Vipers, now this.
Last 2 years they've been great to me. Or 2020 and 22, they were great to me. But 2023 has been bad for spring leagues.
Yeah. You had the Hawks make the playoffs. That's one thing.
What do you
going
mean?
for you?
The Hawks.
The Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, okay.
In
I was
basketball.
like, the Battle Hawks? No, they didn't make it.
No, those Hawks, no, that's a different story. For you specifically, like, cause like there's not a lot of good going on for Atlanta sports usually, but at least the Hawks made the playoffs.
Well, they tend to do that. You know, they finish 500 every year and just make the cut to get into the playoffs. And we've seen in the past, just because they have Trae Young, they can go somewhat deep into the playoffs some years, but it usually doesn't work out. But they're never going to win a championship. We got the Braves. The Braves are the second best team right behind the Tampa Bay Rays right now, so maybe we'll get another championship out of that.
There's one thing, and you always have college football when it comes to springtime, right? So but spring league football not looking too good. Fine for me, but let's get into these picks here for week 5. We starting off with, actually all of these are kind of hard to pick now because it's kind of looking like there's no clear good and bad teams anymore. I said after 2 to 3 weeks there's a very strong polarization in this league where the good teams are really good and the bad teams are really bad, and now it's suddenly not looking like that at all anymore. Which is weird. But we are starting off with the Maulers at the Panthers.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we thought we knew something completely different about both of these teams. But here we are. Both of these teams look about like they did last season at this point, right? Thought the Panthers had improved. I thought Josh Love, I keep calling him Jordan Love. I write down Jordan Love every single week. Carson Strong and Josh Love. I thought Josh Love was going to be the Jordan Teamu. I thought that was going to be Mr. USFL. Obviously not. A little bit on the Maulers, though. Troy Williams. This team actually looks good at times. And then at times they look just as bad as they did last year. I think their defense has improved. They're missing their star linebacker that I just lost his name.
Foster.
Reuben Foster. Yes, there he is. He did not play in this game, and that actually may have held that defense back a little bit. They really weren't that far from winning that game, though, to tell you the truth. Looking at these two teams, now I went ahead and picked the Panthers ahead of time, but the Maulers have been somewhat impressive to be as bad as they are. As weird as that sounds like an oxymoron, but they have been impressive to be as bad as they are, so I almost want to change it, but I'm going to stick with the home team here, and I know home teams don't really mean that much of an advantage in this league, but I'll say that the Panthers are going to pull this one out just because the Maulers tend to lose when they're supposed to win. I'll take the Panthers at home.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. If you had to make this line 2 weeks ago, like after week 2 or week 3, we told you, hey, go make the line for week 5, Maulers, Panthers, you'd put them as double-digit favorites for sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, no doubt. They look like the best team in the North. And the Maulers look like the Maulers, like what we expected them to be like. And now the Maulers win a game, almost beat the Stallions, keep the Stallions to a one-score game, and the Panthers get blown out, realistically speaking, for lack of a better term, by the Boats. Which, by the way, I'm going to call them the Showboats again, because that was a good show, so they've earned the name back. But 29-10, that's a blowout. You know, that's a blowout. My book, that's 3 scores. Well, this is actually very tough to pick. I am one more time going Panthers as well. I'm thinking they should be able to recover from this. They have more of a history necessarily of being able to recover from it. But the Maulers have been getting better every single game they've played. And remember, they started off with that absolute snooze fest against the Breakers in front of an empty stadium. And they've gotten better every single game. Obviously, they broke through week 3 and 1, and almost did it to the Stallions as well, which I'm not too worried about, but we'll get to that in just a second here. I'm going Panthers one more time, but I can see how this is a coin flip. This is definitely a coin flip, and I don't have much faith. I would not put money on the Panthers to win, but I will put my bet, which is worth nothing. Secondly, Gamblers at the Stallions.
I know historically in this league, you're supposed to say the Stallions here. The Stallions have been the most dominant team since the restart of this league. No doubt about it. That one loss to who is the best team in the league right now, the Breakers. You wouldn't really penalize them for that because they'll probably get that win back later in the season, to tell you the truth. But the Maulers almost put one over on the Stallions this week. I'm starting to wonder if there are some problems here. Alex McGough made a phenomenal play. I'm sure you'll expound upon that.
Greatest play in USFL history.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll expound upon that in just a minute. CJ Merrill and CJ Marable and Zaquandre Wright are still splitting time. If I can actually spit these words out, that would help. On the other side, the Gamblers are absolutely a running team. It felt like every single play was a running play. Kenji Bahar looked great. You mentioned that a little bit earlier. I was surprised to see Terry Wilson pop up in this game here. Terry Wilson, that's everybody's favorite neighbor. He has bounced around college football for quite some time. Actually spent some time in Kentucky and several other places. He was that perennial new team guy. He was going to be somewhere new every year. Everybody liked Terry Wilson because he's a lovable guy, and I would like to see him get some decent playing time. Maybe he can fill in half a game for Kenji Bahar or something here. So, but as far as this game, do I want to go with the Stallions to get it back together, or this run, and then run some more Gamblers that seem to be on a hot streak? You know what? Got to take the Stallions just because I feel like it would be dumb to pick the Gamblers, although I could see a path for the Gamblers to win this. I'll stay with the Stallions at home.
There's a history of dumb gamblers picking decisions on this show, by the way, exactly. And it's heavily swayed to my disfavor, unfortunately. So for multiple reasons, I will obviously pick the Stallions here. Number one is that history, and number two is because it's the Stallions, and number three is because it's my team, and because I have the MVP of the league, the undoubtable, undisputed MVP frontrunner of the league on my team. With Josh Love royally disqualifying himself. And Bethel Thompson's playing great. Gotta give it to him. Yeah. He beat the Stallions head-to-head. But Alex McGough is doing things that no other quarterback is doing, including that play. Yeah, that play. That, like, Kyler Murray, except better play to put the Stallions in front. And in fact, I that was the play that sent me to bed. You know, usually like you're watching a game and you go and like you get it, like the other team hits that dagger and you just go to sleep because like, okay, it's over now, who cares? Yeah. It was that, but like the other way around. So let me paint you this picture, right? I live in Europe, as we know, and so I'm watching the Stallions struggle their way throughout this game with the Breakers, and I hoped I was going to be able to go to bed at halftime peacefully because they'd be up by 20 points, but no, that didn't happen that way. So it's approaching around 4 in the morning, and I'm still up watching this game because it's not over, right? And then he pulls off that play. And I know we're going to win. It was over then. Yes, he threw 2 picks, but he was also the leading rusher. And when it came down to, when it mattered, he made that crazy scramble drill around for like 10 seconds. Escaped like 1 million sacks and found him in the end zone. Best player USFL history. I want to say not just modern USFL, but a candidate for the entirety of USFL history, ancient USFL, if you want to call it that. And I knew we were going to win the game, and I knew there is something magical about the team, something Aaron Rodgers-esque about Alex McGough. There has been all year, and I think at the end of the day, he will get it right more often than not, and that will include him beating Houston in front of what I presume to be a pretty packed Protective Stadium at home in Birmingham this year. And this is important too because if the Stallions lose, suddenly they're tied with Houston for the division, and then remember New Orleans is there, and you don't want to let the playoffs get into question. So Stallions win a landmark game at home against the Gamblers. We have the Generals at your ? Stars.
Well, if you recall last season, I had a hard time picking through. I think we went through half the season, at least the week 5 or so, before I actually settled on the Stars. I kept saying I might want to be fans of the Generals here because Luis Perez was the quarterback, and that was the deciding factor. I really liked the Generals then, and tell you the truth, in this game right here, I like the Generals here because I don't like the Stars anymore. I think I've made that clear, hopefully, by now. I'll tell you this about DeAndre Johnson, though. I don't think Mike Riley trusts him to throw the ball at all. He threw the ball 14 times in that entire game. Ran the ball a little bit. Does trust him to run alongside of Darius Victor and Trey Williams and others. Cam Eccles-Looper did really well with his 2 receptions. I think he had 3 targets, actually. But he made the most use of it. There's not a lot of passes thrown by this team. It's basically run or nothing. But there wasn't a lot of plays in this entire game, to tell you the truth. And the Breakers took it as it was. But the Stars are bad. I don't know how many more ways I can say it. I still like Corey Coleman. I still like Case Cookus. I think he's good, but the offensive line is so bad that I can't pick the Stars anymore. I'm going to pick the Generals on the road, and I will not pick the Stars again until they win a game.
Oh, wow. First of all, I will agree with your pick. I'm taking the Generals here because they came pretty close, and you could argue deserved to beat the Breakers and defeat the last undefeated team because they kept Bethel Thompson to a very mediocre, below-average performance for his standards, just like you could argue the Maulers did to Magoo. I still don't think it opens up the MVP picture a whole lot, but they turned him over. They kept him in check all game, and the Breakers end up winning by a last second, like fourth quarter field goal. But the Generals, to me, looked for most of the game like the more convincing team, and they had the lead for a while. They obviously gave up a very early touchdown, but they had the lead for a while. And I really believed in their chances to win it, and I certainly believe in their chances to win this one and put some distance between themselves and the Stars when it comes to the North. But of course, my question is, what happens if the Stars win this game? Where will your allegiance lie?
I don't know. It depends on the fashion they win that I will believe in the Stars. I mean, I'm still a Stars fan. I'm not just the fair weather jump ship. It's mostly for show. I just don't believe in the Stars right now. I still want them to win. I want them to be in the championship game. I want them to win the championship. I just don't believe it right now because of how they're playing. If they win this game, I will feel much better about their chances.
Here's what you need, Smokey, and this is something in the NFL you've already figured out. You need a bandwagon, like a second team.
Yes.
Because in the NFL, you know, 5 weeks in the Falcons are no good, so you're gonna need someone to root for.
Yes.
And then you have like the Bills or something, like some team that's good and also likable.
Yeah.
You need that in these spring leagues.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe
now,
it is
who
the Generals.
could that be?
But
that's a division rival. That's hard. You would not take the Saints as your bandwagon.
Okay, so I don't like the Breakers just because they come from New Orleans, though. So I can't do that. And the Gamblers were way too bad last season to jump on that.
They're not that much better, yeah.
But
then the Stallions are from Alabama, so can you justify liking those?
That's the problem with the Stallions. The Showboats
leaves one team.
The Showboats are horrible. Okay, so they look good last week. Whoever takes off from the Showboats or the Stars will win my fandom here. We'll just say that.
If either of those two teams makes the playoffs, you'll be rooting for them.
Yes, exactly. But then if the Generals make it, then that's my team. You know.
There's a good chance you have to pick a third team. Neither of those are going to make it. That's the way it's looking right now.
There's a good chance, yeah. Maybe,
Give me the Generals. Give me the Generals as well.
God, I can't do the Stallions or the Breakers, and those are the two best teams in the league.
Yeah. That's how it is. Maybe you'll be lucky one of the more likable Southern teams makes the playoffs. You'll be able to bandwagon for them for 2 weeks, but
maybe.
Yeah. And then lastly, the aforementioned Showboats. The show is back in the boats. At these still undefeated New Orleans Breakers.
Yeah, they are the only undefeated team. But I'm going to make a case for Alex McGough here because McLeod Bethel Thompson is not the star of the Breakers. It happens to be Wes Hills. Wes Hills got 26 carries in this game, and he is phenomenal. Like, they really only need 3 pieces on this entire offense. John DeFilippo has put together a brilliant offense here around not only McLeod Bethel-Thompson, which is not the star of it, Wes Hills is, obviously, but also Sage Surratt at tight end. They don't even need wide receivers on this team. This team is that good. 2 touchdowns by Wes Hills this past week. I mean, only 88 yards on 26 attempts. But then when we go to his receiving, 7 receptions for 71 yards. This guy's phenomenal. This guy should be in the NFL. I know he spent like some time on the Lions practice squad for a very short period of time, I think. I don't know why, if he had this in him. I want to say he spent like 6 or 7 years in college and just bounced around practice squads after that. Like he was never drafted or anything. He might have a spot if he continues to play like this for the rest of the season. He might have a spot here. Showboats, yep, I like that win, but I like Kereth White, but I don't think they have a chance here against the Breakers. I think the Breakers take this at home.
See, I want to draw your memory back to about 6-7 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even less than that. We were in the XFL, and we had the Defenders coming in against the Guardians, and we had what we presumed to be the best team in the league versus what was commonly understood to be the worst. And we all said, "Yeah, this is easy, right? This is clear, like the most obvious one." But I said, and I picked the Defenders as well, not to brag, but I picked the Defenders. But I said this. I gave this little notice. If something magical happens, this would be the matchup. Like, it would be this, right? This is the right moment for the Defenders to lose and the Guardians to win. Just for, like, the harmony of the universe, because it's the biggest possible upset. And it feels like, I hope it's not too early, but it feels like it is that time in the USFL. So I am picking this I'm switching off my brain when I'm making this pick. But I'm going to take the Showboats here and the USFL's version of Josh Allen in Cole Kelly. He looks like Josh Allen. He plays like Josh Allen. And I think he's going to be the Superman of this game. He's going to give the undefeated Breakers their first defeat. Because the Breakers now have shown weakness. They've shown that offense is not invincible. That Bethel-Thompson can be forced into mistakes. And if you can contain that run game, force Bethel-Thompson to make plays himself over the middle, they're still in good shape, of course, because he's a veteran, but he can make a mistake. So he turns it over, and Cole Kelly picks it up and plays like Josh Allen, which he should. Become the USFL's version of Josh Allen. I think they have a chance here. I think it's going to be that magical story. It would have been even better of a story, of course, if the Showboats had lost last week. But that one win actually even gives me more confidence that they are able to do it, so I'm picking the Showboats.
Wow. I think.
What do you think about that one?
I was about to make an argument but they have Todd Haley. The Memphis Showboats have Todd Haley. He's a proven loser, and not only in the spring leagues, but also in the NFL, when he had a very, very failed attempt at taking over the Browns after Hugh left. And yes, I just blanked on his last name, but Hugh, you remember Hugh. Yeah, but anyway, that was a failed attempt, and I think Todd Monken came in after that, as a matter of fact, and he's with the Ravens now, after winning 2 championships with the Bulldogs, but that's neither here nor there. I was going to say that Todd Haley is the reason that's not going to happen, but then I was looking back, and Tyrell Buckley is the coach for the Guardians when they won that game. So you may have a point here. Cole Kelly reminds me more of Jack Cohn than he does Josh Allen, to tell you the truth. But I mean, he looked good last week, so maybe he'll continue to improve. Maybe you got something there, but got to stick with the Breakers for now.
Okay, fair enough. It's probably the smart pick, and I'm probably giving up another point. But if not, I feel like this should be worth appraisal next week.
Hey.
If we come in here, Showboats win.
Hey, if you pull it off, I'll give you the props there.
Yeah, it suddenly looks like the Southern Division might not be as bad as we thought now, with the Boats and Gamblers both showing signs of life. Not the greatest thing for the Stallions, actually, because, of course, I'd like the path to the playoffs to be as easy as possible as it was last year and undisputed, but I think they'll still be fine. Got to be able to beat them, of course, and beat the Breakers on the way back. But we will see when we get to that one. Do you have anything to add for these 4 games here?
No, I guess that's it for this week.
Here's a difficult one for this week. Do you want to do power rankings?
Oh, yeah, because the Stars are number 8, as I mentioned earlier. They are that bad, and I'm really mad about that. The Maulers coming in at number 7, and moving up 1 to 2 spots, depending on what we were looking at. The Showboats come in at number 6. I still have the Panthers at number 5, just above the Showboats, but that could all change this week if the Maulers pull off that win. Then the Panthers are dropping down to number 7. But as for right now, they're at number 5. The Gamblers, with 2 good weeks under their belt, are coming in at number 4. Still have the Generals at number 3. The Stallions at number 2. And the Breakers are still number 1 until further notice.
So I agree with a lot of what you said. So we are very close to having the exact same power rankings. But there's one thing that I can't quite agree with, and that is number 1, of course. The record doesn't agree with it now. It will by the end of the season, doesn't agree with it now. But I'm going to put the Stallions back at number 1 because I have the better quarterback. I lost a fluky game, but I have a better roster. There's more NFL talent. The offense is just more stacked than the Breakers is. The Breakers' offense is more one-dimensional than the Stallions is, and I think we are going to see the Breakers crumble to the Memphis Showboats this week anyway, and then the Stallions will reclaim number 1 in everyone's mind. But to me, they are still number 1. Everything other than that, I agree. I agree with you. Stars, you can put them at 8, and I'm not even going to doubt it because they're worse than the Maulers, objectively now compared in the division, and the Showboats just showed life, and the Stars haven't done that in a good while. When I said in week 2 there's a reality check coming for you with the week 2 matchup against the Panthers, I expected that, but I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it to keep going like that. So Stars 8 is completely fine. I want the Stallions at 1. I think they're just the better team with the worst record right now.
Wow. Now I know why you made that Showboats pick over the Breakers. Because you needed to justify why the Stallions need to be at number 1.
Yeah, but that's a big part of it. Yeah, that is true. I also wanted to pick them because I want the Breakers to lose, just in general, and because I think it could happen. Like it's a legitimate, it's a 7-point spread if it's the biggest spread of the weekend, but it just feels like it could happen. I felt that parallel with the Defenders and Guardians.
Yeah,
so it just feels like it should.
I'll tell you this about the Stars: I had them number 1 after week 1. And now they are dead last. That's probably the biggest jump in a power ranking ever in the history of football.
Over the course of 4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah. You go from first to last.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I expected them to hang around like spot number 4 or 5 for the whole season. Of course, I never had them at 1. But I didn't expect them to go to 8. So
you're never going to put the Stallions at number 1. If the Stallions lose 3 more games, you're still going to have them at number 1.
I mean, they're not going to lose 3 more games.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But I don't think so.
They're not dominating like they did last season.
That is correct. That's right. I think teams have had another year to adapt, but ultimately, the Patriots never really dominated the NFL regular season. They just won when they needed to because they did things the right way. I think that's what the Stallions are going to do as well. I think they are the great USFL dynasty about to become the great USFL dynasty. Modern day USFL dynasty, I should say. Yeah, they will be fine. They'll be fine. And in a few years, maybe the greatest USFL dynasty of all time.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I can't dispute it as of right now because they are the winningest team since the reiteration here. But I don't know. Breakers might have something to say about that. And who knows? We might look 5 years down the road and be like, no, I think it's the Maulers, as a matter of fact.
The Maulers, yeah. You think so? That would be a rocky start.
Yeah,
that'd be a rocky start.
Yeah, you never know. They could come back and win season 3, 4, and 5 in a row.
The Maulers right now are of all 8 of them are the least dynastic team.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the Stars, they were good last year at least, even though they're bad now. The Showboats at least didn't experience last season, which is better than experiencing it the way the Maulers did. I think the Maulers are down bad.
Oh, most of the team did though with the Tampa Bay Vipers.
Yeah.
And they were,
but that doesn't count, I think.
Good.
I don't think that counts.
Yeah, probably
New
not.
team.
The people in Memphis are not counting that, that's for sure.
No, neither would I. New team, new logo, new city. That's a blank slate. Mm-hmm. And it damn well should be. And they're going to beat the Breakers this week. Do you have anything to add for this one?
No, that's it for this week.
Cool. Then everyone else, let us know your comments, your picks in the comments as well. Do you agree with the Showboats having the chance to beat the Breakers? And what about the other 3 games? So Smokey and I, we agreed on all the other 3. Do you have any disagreements? If so, why? And power rankings, MVP discussion, of course, I will welcome anytime. And once again, if you're there for the XFL, by chance you just said 30 minutes USFL, even though you only wanted to hear the XFL, that's the other video. Defenders and Renegades, obviously, for the XFL Championship. Separate video you can find on this channel as well for the XFL Championship coming up this weekend. Other than that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard, ha, check.